What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Always feel free to comment. Just please make sure you keep those comments respectful. And if you feel like blessing your favorite podcast of yours truly, your boy's Cashapp is going to be in the episode description. So, um, when I say that, but hell, hashtag TreJuan Johnson. Because not everybody likes to read these days. It's what it is. No offense or no disrespect, but it is what it is. So I just thought I should start plugging that in of what it actually is, but also that it will be in the episode description if you happen to forget. But look, hopefully, hope you guys have done your constitutional right and voted in the elections in your respective areas. Um, I'm out here in Texas, so I had some things in our area, but I know there's elections all around the nation that um, play a big part in what your community is going to look like, but also plays a big part in what your state and what your nation is going to look like. So um, I always encourage people to take that privilege, um, especially because we see in many cases that's being or folks trying to take that away. So definitely um, take advantage of your right, the Constitution, to be able to do that. Sorry, but enough of politics for now. Let's talk to another foreign politics that I love: professional sports. Um, I told you guys leading up to this week, um, and with the NBA coming back, didn't want to just go crazy. Hadn't done a lot of research on all the other teams outside of the Spurs. Was really heavy on what the Spurs were doing this offseason, who they were bringing in, the type of identity they were trying to build. But got a chance to watch some teams around the league over the past couple weeks, and um, started to think about, okay, who might be some of my surprising teams? Who might be some of my disappointing teams? Just some predictions on awards at the end of the year. And then, of course, want to do some NBA predictions. So, in terms of playoffs and finals and that type of stuff. So, I will start with my most surprising team and most disappointing team. And ironically, they both play each other tonight. That being the Charlotte Hornets and the New Orleans Pelicans, respectively. I think the Charlotte Hornets, I think they're going to surprise some people. Um, this year. And I think by surprise, I think it means they're going to have a playoff berth. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. And I think there's going to be a level of surprise for some people. But I just think a lot is riding on this season right now. You have LaMelo Ball, who's, I would say, their best player, but has been dealing with some injuries the past couple of years. They obviously haven't been winning a whole lot. But you have to start thinking about his future with this team and if he's going to indeed be the franchise player. And I think what helps with that decision, especially when it comes to not only keeping him around, but also building around him, is how are you performing? Are you having opportunities to compete in the playoffs and get better, get that type of experience, especially for a team that is young from an age standpoint, but you have a lot of guys with some level of experience. So you want to see them take that next step. They're currently 3-4 in a year, but I do have them making the playoffs, and you guys will see how I have their path to the postseason. But that's a team that I think is going to surprise some people. Now, when I think of a team that's going to be the most disappointing, I promise you, this is not hindsight, but I think it's the New Orleans Pelicans. Coming into this year, I think the Pelicans moved as a team that had some high expectations. You hired Joe Dumars after firing David Griffin, a guy who is obviously a NBA champion as a player, but also as an executive, known as a no nonsense type of guy. But he's had his pitfalls too as an executive. But the signing of him or bringing him on board was a sign of, hey, we're taking this seriously. We're expecting to win some games down here in New Orleans. And I just never bought it. I don't care how good we think Joe Dumars can be. you're only as good as your best player is willing to be. And I never bought into Zion Williamson. It's been enough time now, enough of a sample size to know if a guy cares enough about this game. Granted, I know he just got to maybe the best shape of his life, but best shape of his life did not translate to the best games of his life and the best skill set of his life because the guy still can't hit a pull up jump shot, refuses to shoot threes. It's really just dribble, dribble, dribble. Let me utilize my strength and just first step quickness to get past people, and it just doesn't work. Um, he's not as I mean, Giannis got away with that for a long time because still a 7 footer. Like there's still a height advantage that he has that most people don't have that goes along with his speed and his power. Zion is very much an undersized big that can only play one way. And you just haven't seen that development, and maybe the injuries have been a reason for that. But I just don't think he takes the game as seriously as you would like, and so that was a big reason why I just didn't buy into what they would be. But nevertheless, there was a level of expectation with the Joe Dumars hire, with Zion getting in shape, bringing in a Jordan Poole. Trading your first round pick unprotected, which is ridiculous. That signals to everybody that you're taking this year seriously, but you did it to get Jeremiah Fears, who I am really high on coming out of Oklahoma, and Derek Queen, who I'm high on as well. But clearly the organization isn't because they refused to play him. But a guy that you traded away your first round pick for, he probably should be getting more minutes than Jeremiah Fears is getting, if you want to be honest. But that's just not the case. So I just never really bought in, and they're currently 0-6. And here's my take on the Pelicans right now. Is if this comes out, if my prediction on them comes to fruition of them being the most disappointing team, by the end of this year, we should not see Willie Green as the head coach. We should not see Zion Williamson on this roster. If you can get him, you can find a way to trade him in season, you do it. But if you feel like you need to get an opportunity for him to be healthy again and then make that move in the offseason, you got to do it. This guy's coming up real close to having another extension. And I just don't think you I don't think he's done enough for you to invest more capital in him. I don't think he's done enough from a money generation standpoint in terms of filling seats. Like he hasn't done that either. So I don't understand why you're letting him hang around off of potential. At some point, and I would say 5, 6 years in, potential is out of the window. You just are what you are. And if you somehow find that potential, it'll be somewhere else, and we'll move on without you. And I think Jeremiah Fears and I think Derek Queen are two young men that you can build around. I think from what I can see, I think they're too young men to take the game seriously. I mean, want to get better. So it's so young in their careers, and I think those are building blocks. I would be so disrespectful and blasphemous to say that is they have a very Chris Paul, David West dynamic to them that I think they could be for the New Orleans Pelicans. But you know, I do think the Pelicans need to be sellers this year, not just Zion. They need to look to move Herb. They need to look to move Trey Murphy if you can. You just can't keep doing what you're doing and expecting different results with what you've been doing the past few years. More importantly, believing in Zion Williamson. Uh, as the great late Maya Angelou would always say, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. Like stop hoping and wishing that he's going to be something or someone that he is not. It's just not happening. But that's just my take. I want to dive into awards. I talked a little bit about Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma, and so uh, I guess that would be no surprise to the listeners that I am predicting that he will win Rookie of the Year. Some of that is based on me being high on him and what he can bring to the team, and what he can do numbers wise, and what I think his numbers will end up being. But a lot of it is opportunity. When I look at some of the rookies in his class, when you think of Dylan Harper, Cooper Flagg, VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey, so on and so forth, I think a lot of it is opportunity. And early in the year, I would have told you, hey man, VJ Edgecombe is running away with this thing. But Embiid's coming back, or Embiid is back, and he's on a kind of a minutes restriction now. But as he progresses, he's going to get a bulk of the touches. Tyrese Maxey is already showing himself to blossom into a superstar right before our eyes. and Paul George is coming back. And so those are already 3 miles that have to be fed that's going to take away from some of the opportunities that VJ Edgecombe had. Like one of the last games I saw him play, he only had 11 shots when he was getting 15, 20 plus shots before Embiid came back. And I think that number is only going to decline when Paul George gets back. And let's not forget that Jared McCain, who was balling before he got injured his rookie season and probably would have won Rookie of the Year had he stayed healthy, he's going to be back in the fold pretty soon as well. And so I just think opportunities for VJ are going to lessen and lessen throughout the year, and that's going to hurt his numbers. But I mean, the 76ers could always, move on from a PG-13. They could move on from a Jerry McCain if VJ is stepping up as that running mate to Tyrese Maxey. So I'd be interested to see what they do with the 76ers. I think Cooper Flag, who's the number one overall pick, is kind of in a similar situation. Um, Kyrie's hurt, but is going to be back this year. AD just got hurt. And you're already seeing Cooper be in a situation where they got him playing point guard, but he is having to initiate the offense and just get others involved when he's passing to guys that I think he's more talented than, and they should be passing to him. He should be getting some shots. And I just don't think he's going to put together the caliber of a year that I think he's expecting, that Mavs fans are expecting. I think it's going to be a decent year, but I don't think it's going to be Rookie of the Year worthy. Just with an AD and the attention he commands. Then the Kyrie comes back, the attention he commands. I just think Cooper's going to find himself as more of a third option, and I don't know how that's going to work out for his Rookie of the Year campaign. And Jeremiah and Harper. He just got hurt, left calf strain, going to miss a few weeks. But you also got to think of the usage with Stephon Castle. De'Aaron Fox is coming back. Obviously, Devin Vassell is a big time shot maker for the Spurs, and not to mention Victor Wembanyama. So I just think the opportunities for Harper to make the impact already were going to be in jeopardy with some of the healthier guys coming back or some of the guys getting healthy and coming back. But now that he's going to be out a few weeks, it's going to take some more time for him to ramp up. And I just don't think he's going to get himself back into the running for the award. And I think Jeremiah Fears already, like, I mean, they pushed Jordan Poole to the bench, inserted this young man to the starting lineup, and I think he's done well. And I just think he's going to get more and more opportunities. We'll see what happens with DeJounte Murray how he comes back from that Achilles injury. But I just think the Pelicans have found their point guard of the future, maybe a future face of the franchise. I think they're going to start moving accordingly, and I just think he's going to be able to put up some of those numbers. It's not going to lead to wins. It's not. I think the Pelicans are a bad team, but I think he's going to put together some individual performances where he's going to get the award and establish himself as the future in New Orleans. Most improved player, I'm going to go Amin Thompson out of Houston. Definitely getting an expanded role. I think they already expected him to have an expanded role, but now with Fred VanVleet out, they almost elevated it even more to what they thought he would be, playing kind of that point guard position, and he's already doing really well in terms of progressing from last year to this year. Already more points per game in such a short sample size, more assists per game in a short sample size as well. And I think the type of year that Houston is going to have. I think him being kind of that lead guard for them, I think him pushing his numbers up, I think that's going to be really helpful in his most improved player campaign. I know a lot of people are saying Wemby, he may very well win it. I just don't believe that a number one overall pick who everybody's expecting to be dominant should get most improved for doing what he's supposed to be doing. While Amin was a lottery pick as well, I still felt like people thought he was a raw talent that needed time to grow, and I think he's growing and a lot faster maybe than most people expected. And so that's probably somebody that I would lean into being most improved. I've seen Ryan Hollins, who was a Golden State draft pick a few years ago. Now with the Bucks doing really well, saw him as somebody that could win it. Saw Josh Giddey, who's having a phenomenal year with the Bulls right now. Saw him as a possible candidate for this award too. But I'm just going to go Amin on this one. Six man, going to stay with my Spurs. Go Keldon Johnson on this one. I think there's some really good six-man candidates, but I think Keldon has found himself in a groove now. I think it took some adjustment after being a starter for a while. Now going back to the bench, figuring out how he fits in. I think he's made some great plays, scoring the ball, playing defense, effort plays, getting offensive boards, diving in for defensive boards. already improved on some of his numbers from a season ago. And I think based on where the Spurs are going to end the year, we're probably going to have some level of attrition go on with injuries and things, just the nature of the beast. I think Keldon's going to start putting up some numbers and some performances where he wins this award. Jordan Clarkson is another person I'm high on, not having the best year right now with the New York Knicks, but I think as the season goes on, he finds his groove. That could be somebody that rivals for this award too. But I'm gonna go with my boy Keldon, bringing some hardware back to San Antonio. And another person bringing hardware back to San Antonio is going to be Victor Wembanyama as Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, shit, the guy led the league in block shots last year and missed damn near half the season. I think he stays healthy, already starting to show himself to be a force defensively, which is nothing new, right? Adding to that offensive firepower that we know he's capable of. But I'm gonna go with him for Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think that's really a surprise for anyone when his name gets called. Kind of thought about doing a bold prediction and saying he'd win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, but I'm gonna stick MVP with Giannis. I will say this: I do think Wemby's going to finish top three in MVP. I think it's going to be Giannis. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be Giannis. I think it's going to be SGA, and I think it's going to be Wemby in terms of finishing. I really wanted to say Luca because of the year he's having when he is playing, but he's been dealing with some crazy, crazy behind injuries. It's like he just had a monster game and then dealing with a leg contusion, and so I don't know how that's going to affect him. Obviously, when LeBron comes back, and what he demands as a superstar, I think there's going to be some things that he's going to bring to the team that may take away some of Luka's numbers. How Austin Reeves has progressed, that's going to take away from some of Luka's numbers as well. I do think the Lakers are going to be a good team, going to be a playoff team. But I don't know how good they're going to be. Health is still a question mark. Luka in and out of the lineup. Austin Reeves now in and out of the lineup. LeBron hasn't even returned yet, and we don't know how he's going to come back from injury and what the season is going to look like for him. But I just think Giannis is on a tear right now to start the year. He kind of has that roster where he doesn't really have a true number two, and so it's really a Giannis or nothing type of thing. And I think that's going to allow him to put up some ungodly numbers. And I think still, I mean, Doc Rivers is at his best when expectations are low, when he only really has like one superstar at best. He can get the rest, he can get the most out of some of these other guys. And I think that's going to catapult Giannis to an MVP campaign. And so let's get to playoff predictions. Um, I will do the top 10. Like I said, I don't believe the play-in is the playoffs, but it is what it is. But I'll start from 1 seed to 10 seed. 1 seed in the West, I got OKC. 2, Nuggets. 3, Golden State. 4, Houston. 5, San Antonio, which one might say is a bold prediction. 6, Lakers. Would have the Lakers in the top 3 or 4, but again, I don't know the dynamics of the health right now. Clippers 7, Timberwolves 8, Jazz 9, um, and the Kings 10. So your playing teams are the Clippers, the T-Wolves, the Jazz, and the Kings. In that play-in matchup, I would have the Timberwolves beat the Clippers to get the 7 seed. I would have the Kings beat the Jazz, and then I would have the Kings beat the Clippers for the 8 seed. So that would make my 8 playoff teams. 1 OKC versus the 8 seed, the Kings, the 2 seed Nuggets versus the 7 seed Timberwolves, the 3 seed Warriors versus the 6 seed Lakers, the 4th seed Rockets versus the 5th seed Spurs. I'm going to say OKC over the Kings in 5. I'm going to say Denver over the T-Wolves in 6. I'm going to say Golden State over the Lakers in 7. And I'm only saying that because the Golden State has home court advantage. If somehow, some way this was flipped, the Lakers had the home court advantage, I would pick the Lakers in this series. But Golden State has home court in this series. I'm gonna go Golden State. Houston and San Antonio are reviving an older rivalry. I got the Spurs in 6, so I got them winning their first playoff series since that would be since Kawhi was in a Spurs jersey, so 10 years almost. So I got the Spurs in 6, upsetting the Houston Rockets. My second round would then be OKC versus the Spurs and the Nuggets versus the Golden State Warriors. I got the Spurs upsetting OKC in 6. I know it's crazy. I know it. I would say another bold prediction, but I think with De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, you hopefully have Dylan Harper healthy at that point, Stephon Castle. I think even what Luke Cornett, Kelly Olynyk, Harrison Barnes, they bring from a veteran standpoint. I think you're going to have a really good team with some depth. And we know OKC has some crazy depth, but they don't have a Wemby. And I know everybody wants to make Chet Wemby like. He ain't Wemby. And I think Wemby's going to have his way. I think this is going to be a coming out party for him where he truly puts the league on notice that he's got next in this league and in this era. And so I got the Spurs making it to the Western Conference Finals again for the first time since Kawhi was in a Spurs jersey in 2017. So got the Spurs making to the Western Conference Finals, and I have the Nuggets beating Golden State in 7 to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Again, if it was Golden State had the higher seed, I would pick Golden State. But I think the Nuggets, that mile high altitude, I think the Nuggets are going to win that series, and I have the Nuggets beating the Spurs in 7. Look, I can talk about Wemby, having a coming out party and putting out there that hey, this is my time. But we're still in the era of Jokic right now when it comes to the Western Conference. And so I think they're just a better team overall than the Spurs right now. I think they're more seasoned than the Spurs right now. And I think they're going to get back to the NBA Finals. Let's go to the East. Let's go our top 10. I have Bucks as the 1 seed, Knicks as the 2 seed, Cavs as the 3, Heat as the 4, Detroit as the 5. I've been back and forth between the Celtics and the Sixers here, but I put the Sixers in 6. Then my playing teams, the Magic at 7, the Bulls at 8, the Raptors at 9, the Hornets at 10. Keep in mind that. So as you guys can see, I have the Celtics missing the playoffs. JT's not coming back. They're doing some good things. They don't have a really good record. I think those bastards are tanking because they know they're about to get a really, really, really good pick, and they're going to pair that with a Jason Tatum and a Jaylen Brown and a Derek White and all the great things the Celtics have, and they'll be back in the title picture next year. But I think they know what they're doing. They're like, why even waste a year? We're not winning the championship without JT. Let's just not. They're tanking, but they're competitively tanking, so we don't think about it yet. And then the Celtics don't tank, right? So we haven't caught on as a mass audience, but those bastards are tanking, and they're going to get a really really good player. They're going to pair them with JT and Jaylen Brown, and I'm gonna be pissed. But it is what it is. Can I be too pissed since the Spurs are probably going to get another top pick? I don't know. Anyways, so we have the Celtics missing the playoffs because I do think they're tanking. So I have the Magic beating the Bulls. I have the Hornets beating the Raptors. And then I have the Hornets beating the Bulls to get that last playoff spot. And that'll be the end of the Billy Donovan era. Thank God. So my eight seed format in the East now looks like this. The Bucks versus the Hornets, the Knicks versus the Magic, the Cavs versus the 76ers, and the Heat versus Detroit, the Detroit Pistons. I have the Bucks sweeping the Hornets. I have the Magic upsetting the Knicks in 6. So shout out to my boy Ace. You heard it here first. I got the Magic upsetting the Knicks in 6. I got the 76ers upsetting the Cavs in 6. And then I have the Heat beating the Pistons in 7. Then I have the Bucks beating the Heat in 6. I have the Magic, I guess, upsetting the 76ers in 7. And then I have the Bucks beating the Magic in 5. So I'm sorry, Ace, but I have the Bucks beating the Magic in 5. So I am setting up a Jokic Nuggets versus a Giannis Bucks NBA Finals. I'm going Nuggets in 6. I was very tempted to pick the Bucks because at this point they're the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs. They have the MVP, arguably the best player in the NBA. But I just think the others for the Nuggets, I think the others for the Nuggets are going to outplay the others for the Bucks, and that's going to be the difference in this series. And guess what? Finals MVP, It won't be Nikola Jokic. I am going that the finals MVP will be Aaron Gordon. There it is. Another bold prediction. Finals MVP is Aaron Gordon. So there's that. Nuggets in 6. They're your 2025, 2026 NBA champions. You guys can't say that I'm biased because I did not pick the Spurs to win the NBA finals, but I did pick them to make it to the Western Conference Finals. It's just the beginning of what will be an era of Wemby, but not yet. I think Nikola Jokic and his crew are just a little bit too seasoned, a little bit too deep. I think they win, and I think in other for the Denver Nuggets wins Finals MVP. So that's my prediction. Want to wrap up real quick with the NFL trade deadline. There were some trades like leading up to it that like Eagles um, got Jair Alexander. They got Jalen Phillips, sorry, from Miami. I mean, obviously they're going to make them better, but I mean it's the Eagles. You don't need much to make them better, so I didn't really care about that. But we got some big action today. The Jets are very much sellers. They were big sellers, trading two of their best players. Probably, one would argue, their two best players. They traded them today. Sauce Gardner went for 3 first-round picks to the Indianapolis Colts and Adonai Mitchell. So they even got a player in it. Um, got 3 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell for Sauce Gardner. Um, are the Colts for real? I think I was talking to my mom today about it. I said I'm worried about the Colts. I love Sauce. I don't know if he's 3 first-round picks worthy. I also don't think a team without a quarterback should be um, surrendering that level of capital because I love me some Daniel Jones, some Danny Dimes, but he showed against Pittsburgh what he could really be capable of. And are you willing to build your franchise around that? Because now it's going to be hard that if Daniel Jones his reverts back to some of his Giants days, right? How will that impact what the coach's future looks like? Because now you're just giving up 3 first-round picks for a cornerback. And I love Sauce, but I don't know if he's a cornerback that makes that much of a difference. Clearly, he doesn't because the Jets didn't go anywhere with his, impact. And maybe you're thinking as the coach, we're a really, really good team, and we have a quarterback that we believe in. It's going to be relatively cheap. We ain't got to pay him $60 million a year. We can do some things. We don't need that first round pick because we're going to be at the top of the board every year anyway, in terms of or towards the back end of the first round anyway. Um, but yeah, uh, they're definitely high on this year. They're definitely going all in. Jonathan Taylor, who probably should be the MVP this year, but they hate running backs, so that's neither here nor there. But man, again, the Jets trading Sauce Gardner, getting 3 first-round picks, but they were not done. They traded Quentin Williams, who is one of the best defensive tackles in the game. Traded him to the Cowboys for a first-round pick. They got Mazie Smith as well, but first-round pick from the Cowboys. Um, Cowboys. I had to be at the game last night, and Arizona was having their way with them. So it's not a surprise that they said we need someone that can be dominant on this defensive line and wreak havoc. And that's going to help their secondary. They got destroyed last night. It's going to help guys that want to be aggressive and go after interceptions. When Quentin Williams is collapsed in the pocket, it's going to make life easy for them, like a Michael Parsons used to do. But yeah, wonder why he's not on the team. Um, Jets, what are y'all setting up for? What are y'all setting up for? Y'all want that quarterback, huh? Y'all really want that quarterback. Y'all got to. I mean, that's the only way. That's the only reason why you go crazy. And they have put themselves in prime position to not only get the quarterback, but to continue to still build that roster. Also, puts a certain team that's sitting at the first overall pick right now in a really good situation. They can start to up those prices. Maybe get a couple of those picks from the Jets. Maybe start a bidding war between the Jets and the Browns. Just saying. Speaking of said team, guys, chosen franchise, the Saints. We talked about the Jets being big sellers. The Saints sold. They just didn't sell enough. They didn't sell enough. I think we left some meat on the bone. Traded Rashid Shaheed for a fourth and a fifth round pick to Seattle Seahawks. Fourth and fifth round picks in this upcoming year's draft, which is really good. Wish Shaheed the best. You guys know how I felt about Rashid Shaheed. I kind of felt like he was wide receiver three. We were asking him to be a compliment to Chris Olave. Just could never really be that guy that we needed him to be. He was an undrafted free agent, so he definitely um, outperformed his station. And so credit to him and his hard work for that. I just don't think where the Saints needed to be and what they needed to be in that wide receiver room to help out, whether it's the two young quarterbacks on our roster currently or an upcoming quarterback in the next draft or two. I just don't think he was able to provide that for us. But I think he's going to do some great things for Seattle, and we certainly couldn't pay him the money that he probably was going to demand that we pay him. Seattle's not going to even go near 25, 26 million for Rashid Shaheed services. So you're telling me I got another guy that was undrafted for me, developed him into a decent receiver, really dangerous punt returner. I get 2 picks for him, and I don't have to pay him. I wasn't going to even pay him anyway. And here's the thing, y'all. I'm on record saying this. When Brandon Cooks got hired or got signed, that's the beginning of the end for Rashid Shaheed in the New Orleans Saints uniform. People are like, oh, Brandon Cooks is cooked. And he is. But guess what? He's a guy that plays the same way you play. Just probably still a better route runner at his age. Then you bring in a Devon Vele that you trade for, which God, please start playing the kid more now that Rashid Shaheed's gone. I get it. We had to boost Rashid's value. That worked. Can we now get some ROI on the fourth round pick we shipped away? Please, thank you. Um, you go get Devon Vele. Jalen Pope, you trade for him. He's hurt, but you still trade for him because that's somebody you're hoping contributes for you next year. You go get a Trey Palmer. Like, you keep a Mason Tipton on the roster, guys that as a Saints team, you're like, okay, we need to start finding guys that can be a wide receiver two, or even better, a wide receiver three, but has more of a skill set that's complement to Chris Olave. And maybe we're going to go get somebody in the draft that will be either the bona fide wide receiver one or another complement to Chris Olave that's going to help free up his game. That remains to be seen. Saints also traded away Trevor Penning. Oh my God, a waste of a first round pick if there ever was one. We actually traded a first round pick to move up to get him. Tried him at left tackle, didn't work. Tried him at right tackle. I thought he should have stayed at right tackle, but Kellen Moore and his crew, they obviously drafted a left tackle, so they moved Fuaga back to his natural position. Pushed Penny to guard, which I've always been on record saying he was not a guard. He was not going to be a good guard. He was not going to be good at guard. And guess what? He was not good at guard. But we ship him off. We get a future six round pick from the Chargers. Good riddance. Maybe he's going to go back to tackle because they're out. They're two starting left tackle or two starting tackles. Oh man, what a waste of a pick. Just never became even close to what we needed him to be. Which is sad because we've invested so much in that offensive line, and it's just not panned out for us. It's so disappointing. Um, but the Saints do now have 7 picks. I think what came in with 5 picks. Now they have 7. Still not good enough. Trey, why is it not good enough? Pete Warner is still in the Saints jersey. Not that Pete Warner was having a terrible year. I think he struggles in pass coverage. He's not, you know, I never thought he was good at zone. And people were like, yeah, he plays zone at Ohio State. Yeah, did you see what the hell Alabama did to them when they were playing zone and trying to drop their linebackers back, which included Pete Warner in that rotation? No, not a good thing to do. Still really good against the run. Um, I think you can argue he's our second best linebacker. I think Danny Stutzman has been our best linebacker. And one of the reasons why I wanted Pete gone, we're paying him money, and he's getting outperformed by a rookie. So I want to get him out, phase him out, trade him out, get Danny Stutzman um, some more opportunities to be really good. But I will say this: what's the vision though? Um, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And so part of me feels like, if you guys remember, Danny Stutzman did a lot of his off-season development at Demario Davis's position. Um, And I think it's going to be one of those come to Jesus moments at the end of the year where DeMario either retires or he's not a Saint anymore. and maybe they see a linebacking core with Pete Warner, Danny Stuntsman. You got Isaiah Stallbird, who's come on really well too, and maybe those are your guys. Obviously, maybe you draft somebody next in this upcoming draft, and they're competing too, or maybe you look at trading Pete Warner at the draft or whatever. But there's got to be some level of vision with this linebacker situation as to why Pete Warner is still the same, especially given how many teams have lost their starting linebackers. But Cesar Ruiz, he's still the same. We traded away Trevor Penny. Why did we keep Cesar Ruiz? I've heard that there were offers that we just didn't like. I don't know. What like if somebody's offering me a 7th round pick for Cesar Ruiz, I'm not taking it. Like I'm not taking anything less than a 5th round pick for Cesar Ruiz. Why do I say that? Because I'm not drafting, like I'm not gonna find an offensive lineman in the 5th round that I know I can just come in and just replace him. Like no. You need to think higher. 3rd round in a third, second, first, or whatever. That's when you can find an offensive guard that you're like, okay, that guy can come in and take a spot. That just you're confident in that. I don't think you're going to get that at 5th and 6th round pick, and not at Cesar Ruiz's value. I mean, he's one of the lowest paid offensive guards in the league. I guess you get what you pay for, but it is what it is. But I just wish we could have offloaded that. Why? Dylan Ravens was going to slide into left guard, obviously, but I really like that Torricelli Simpkins kid, another undrafted free agent who I think can be something. And if we can mold him into, get a level of value that we got out of Rashid Shaheed, but at the offensive line position, oh, that would be amazing. But Cesar Ruiz is still the same. Alontae Taylor, a guy I love. I feel like he can still make an impact in his defense, but just looks so checked out. Maybe now the trade deadline has passed, he'll lock back in because he knows he's here now. But I just felt like you could have gotten something for Alontae Taylor. But that's where we are. I know some people say Carl Granderson. I know some people say Alvin Kamara, but that's not going to happen. Some people say Chris Olave. God, I'm not even going to go there. Uh, but man, I just don't know what the Saints' vision is for this roster construction. But we'll see how the season progresses. We'll see how the offseason goes, and see if we get to start to get a clear vision. Because right now we're dealing with a lot of Dennis Allen and Sean Payton players. Maybe we really start to get a handle on the Kellen Moore era when we get more picks and bringing guys in. But that's just my piece on the NFL trade deadline. I know that the basketball playoff rankings are coming out. You got Alabama, LSU. It's a big game to LSU fans. I think it's a big game for Alabama in the sense of we gotta, you know, they're in our path to where we need to be. Um, and interim coach or not, they're going to be ready to fight. And we just got to be ready to hold serve and win this game. I would love a blowout. Joyless murder ball is what I'm begging for. But it is what it is. With Penn State, Indiana this weekend. Um, not Utah, Texas Tech and BYU, my Fighting Mormons. They will make a statement. They are going to beat Texas Tech. Looking forward to that. So looking forward to see what the college football rankings are. I won't put mine out until next Tuesday because I want to see how this weekend goes, and then I'll go with my rankings up until this point. More so my top 12, and then I don't care about anything else after that. Um, Looking forward to it. But I end the show as I always do. If there's anything I said that offended anyone, that's a good thing, right? It's an opportunity for me to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.